Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ian from Big Rock Adventure coming at you with another video today. I wanted to talk about why I sold my Honda Africa Twin. So a lot of people have seen my owner review, my honest owner review of the Honda Africa Twin CRF 1000L manual version in the tricolor scheme. The review has close to 400,000 views on YouTube, which, by the way, I never expected. It was my first video and I had no idea anyone would watch it. And I took it on my phone and I didn't do it right, and all sorts of things like that. But I found that so many people watched that review that it got me interested in doing something with my channel. So anyway, long story short, why did I sell the Africa Twin? Why don't I have it anymore? So the first thing is, people who know me, I just kind of have vehicle ADD, so vehicle attention deficit disorder. I always think the grass is greener somewhere else, and I like to try a lot of different motorcycles. And I've enjoyed that. I'm probably going to need to slow down a little bit with that, just because that gets a little expensive over time. Keep always switching, but if you make good purchases and keep care of your stuff, it's not too bad. So that's one factor, but there's a lot of other reasons too. So my goal with the Africa Twin was kind of to be like this motorcycle, a long distance adventure bike that could go off road pretty well. And for the most part, the Africa does deliver on that, I have to say. There's a few things that bug me about it, though, that I wish Honda would really address. Now, keep in mind, mine was a 2017 version, and I know they've changed a lot of this, and now with the 2020 bikes, that's a whole different discussion, because they've added a lot of the features that I'm going to talk about. The first thing was, the bike should have had cruise control from the start. So when I go on a long trip and I'm riding 500 miles a day, if you watch my GS review, you know how much I love the cruise control. It's a huge factor for me. And to put it on you could get some aftermarket kit, but it was a throttle cable bike, and I didn't really want to connect a bunch of stuff to my throttle cables and everything, so I kind of nixed that idea. So cruise control was one. Another was just engine performance. It's a great engine. It's extremely smooth, no vibration, but it doesn't have quite enough punch to really get you excited. I think for me, I'm learning it takes around 120, 130 horsepower to have an exciting experience on the street. This bike just kind of barely has enough for that. The 1250 is better for the GS, but I wish the Africa had a little bit more punch to it. I know it's a very solid engine, it's reliable, it's easy to work on. I think it's great, and I don't fault it. I just wish it had a bit more punch out on the open highway, so that would be nice. A third factor for me was there's an issue with the forks on the Africa Twins, the non-adventure sport version, the regular version, for the first, I guess, 2 or 3 years. So the issue with the forks is that the coating inside the fork tube, I'll try to put a photo here, the coating kind of wears off. It's like manufactured wrong or something, and you start to get stiction on your fork. So as your fork is traveling up and down, you have friction. They call it stiction because it's a fork. And to me, that's kind of like not a good thing on a bike that costs, $14,000. They really should address the fork. And Honda was not being very good about coming up with a solution for this. So that was another reason. Overall, I found the Africa Twin to be a really excellent motorcycle. And the introduction of the 2020 model with cruise control, with a better screen, with more riding modes, with hopefully they fixed the fork issue on the suspension. I hope so, I don't know. But if they did, then that might get me interested in the bike again. I really like the Africa Twin platform. It feels pretty lightweight for what it is. The weight feels pretty low, kind of like a GS. The suspension is pretty well suited to off-road, although they could make it a bit better. And it's going to be extremely durable. I love the way the Africa Twin looks. I actually think it's probably the best looking adventure bike, just my 2 cents. So I really wouldn't mind, I would consider returning to an Africa Twin in the future, especially with the updates that they've made. And I think that the bike has a ton of promise. If they could give it a little bit more power, and if they could give it a little bit better suspension, there's really nothing to fault with it at that point, especially now since they've added cruise control and a TFT dash and all sorts of those things. Although I will say that they have to watch their price, though, because the price is getting pretty high. It's creeping up there pretty high. If you remember when the Africa Twin came out in 2016, it was, what did they cost? Like they were $12,000, $13,000 for a base model. Now you're seeing prices go up and up and up. I think they have an electronic suspension version. And so on the one hand, you know, well, a GS costs $20,000 and it has all those things. So there is precedent for a bike priced that high. But also, are you getting enough for the money? I don't know. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.